We're here today because Facebook has shown us, once again, that it is incapable of holding itself accountable. This month, a whistleblower approached my office to provide information about Facebook and Instagram. Thanks to documents provided by that whistleblower, as well as extensive public reporting by the Wall Street Journal and others, we now have deep insight into Facebook's relentless campaign to recruit and exploit young users. We now know, while Facebook publicly denies that Instagram is deeply harmful for teens, privately, Facebook researchers and experts have been ringing the alarm for years. In August, ahead of this hearing, Senator Blackburn and I wrote to Mark Zuckerberg and we asked, as you can see from this poster board, quote, has Facebook research ever found that its platforms and products can have a negative effect on children's and teens' mental health or well-being, such as increased suicidal thoughts, heightened anxiety, unhealthy usage patterns, negative self-image, or other indications of lower well-being, end quote. Facebook's response was, quote, we are not aware of a consensus among studies or experts about how much screen time is too much. Facebook knows. It knows the evidence of harm to teens is substantial and specific to Instagram. In new, previously undisclosed documents provided by the whistleblower, making them available now through these quotes, we know that its own comprehensive internal review indicated that Facebook employees found, and I quote, substantial evidence suggests that experiences on Instagram and Facebook make body dissatisfaction worse, particularly viewing attractive images of others, viewing filtered images, posting selfies, and viewing content with certain hashtags. It was Facebook's own employees making a formal finding based on their research. In our August letter, we also asked, quote, has Facebook ever found that child or teenage users engage in usage patterns that would indicate addictive or unhealthy usage of its platforms or products, end quote. Facebook didn't even bother to respond directly and pointed us to a previous evasion. Facebook researchers have concluded that teens, quote, have an addict's narrative about their use. Have an addict's narrative about their use. Another survey, also not disclosed publicly, found that, quote, over 1/3 of teens felt they have, quote, only a little control or no control at all over how Instagram makes them feel. There is a teenage mental health crisis in America. After years of decline, starting in 2007, the suicide rate for young people has begun to skyrocket. The suicide rate for 10 to 14-year-olds has doubled. For young girls, it has quadrupled. Instagram didn't create this crisis, but from the documents provided by the whistleblower, clearly Facebook's own researchers described Instagram itself as a, quote, perfect storm. That, and I quote again, exacerbates downward spirals. Facebook knew it was a perfect storm through Instagram that exacerbates downward spirals. My office did its own research. We created an Instagram account identified as a 13-year-old girl and followed a few easily findable accounts associated with extreme dieting and eating disorders. Within a day, its recommendations were exclusively filled with accounts that promote self-injury and eating disorders. That is the perfect storm that Instagram has fostered and created. We will now turn to our witness, Ms. Antigone Davis, who is the global head of safety at Facebook. She spearheads Facebook's Safety Advisory Board efforts, and she earned her JD from the University of Chicago Law School and her BA from Columbia University. Ms. Davis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Blumenthal, Ranking Member Blackburn, and distinguished members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Antigone Davis. I'm a parent, a former teacher, and the global head of safety at Facebook. Like you, I care deeply about the safety and well-being of young people online. And I have dedicated the better part of my adult life to these issues. In my current role, I work with internal teams and external stakeholders to ensure that Facebook remains a leader in online safety, including issues of bullying and combating child exploitation. This is some of the most important work that I have done in my career, and I'm proud of the work that my team does every day. At Facebook, we take the privacy, safety, and well-being of all those who use our platform very seriously, especially the youngest people on our services. We work tirelessly to put in place the right policies, products, and precautions so they have a safe and positive experience. We have dedicated teams focused on youth safety, and we invest significant resources in protecting teens online. We also know that we can't do this work alone. We work closely with experts and parents to inform the features we develop. We require everyone to be at least 13 years of age on Facebook and Instagram. When we learn that an underage user has created an account, we remove them from our platform. When it comes to those between 13 and 17, we consult with experts to ensure that our policies properly account for their presence, for example, by age-gating content. We work constantly to improve safety and privacy protections for young people. For example, earlier this year, we announced that all users under 16 in the US will now be defaulted into a private account when they join Instagram. We also think it is critical to give parents and guardians the information, resources, and tools they need to set parameters for their children and help them develop healthy and safe online habits. That's why we publish a variety of guides and portals intended to foster important conversations around online safety. And we're fortunate to do all this work with the help of industry experts, including our youth advisors, a group of experts in privacy, youth development, psychology, parenting, and youth media. We understand that recent reporting has raised a lot of questions about our internal research, including research we do to better understand young people's experiences on Instagram. We strongly disagree with how this reporting characterized our work, so we want to be clear about what the research shows and what it does not show. The research showed that many teens say that Instagram is helping them with hard issues that are so common to being a teen. In fact, one of the main slides referenced in the article includes a survey of 12 difficult and serious issues, like loneliness, anxiety, sadness, and eating disorders. We asked teens who told us that they were struggling with these issues whether Instagram was making things better, worse, or having no effect. On 11 of the 12 issues, teen girls who said they struggled with those issues were more likely to say that Instagram was affirmatively helping them, not making it worse. That was true for teen boys on 12 of 12 issues. I want to be clear, I'm not diminishing the importance of these issues or suggesting that we will ever be satisfied if anyone is struggling on our apps. That's why we conduct this research, to make our platform better, to minimize the bad and maximize the good, and to proactively identify where we can improve. And the most important thing about our research is what we've done with it. We've built AI to identify suicide content on our platform and rapidly respond with resources. We've launched tools to help control time spent on our apps. We've built a dedicated reporting flow for eating disorder-related content, and we offer resources when people try to search for it. We have a long track record of using our internal research external research, and close collaboration with experts to improve our apps and provide resources for people who use them. And our work to respond to this research is ongoing. One idea we think has promise is finding opportunities to jump in if we see people dwelling on certain types of content and point them toward content that inspires and uplifts them. Finally, I want to speak to our work on Instagram experience for those under 13. As every parent knows, when it comes to kids and tweens, they're already online. We believe that it is better for parents to have the option to give tweens access to a version of Instagram that's designed for them, where parents can supervise and manage their experience, than to have them lie about their age to access a platform that wasn't built for them, or rely on an app's ability to verify the age of kids who are too young to have an ID. That's why we've been working on delivering age-appropriate, parent-supervised experiences, something YouTube and TikTok already do. But we recognize how important it is to get this right, and we have heard your concerns, which is why we announced that we are pausing the project to take more time. We'll keep listening to parents, keep talking with policymakers and regulators like yourselves, keep taking guidance from experts, and we'll revisit this project at a later date. But there's an important part of what we've been developing for Instagram Kids that we won't be pausing: supervisory tools for parents. We'll continue our work to allow parents to oversee their children's accounts by offering these tools to teen accounts on Instagram. These new features, which parents and teens can opt into, will give parents tools to meaningfully shape their teen's experience. As a parent, this development means a lot to me. I know I would have truly appreciated more insight and tools to help me support my daughter and manage her online experience as she learned how to navigate social media. I want to thank you for the opportunity to discuss these important issues with you today and answer your questions. Youth safety and well-being are areas where we are investing heavily, and we welcome productive collaboration with lawmakers and elected officials. Thank you, and I look forward to our discussion.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. We both know, all of us know as parents, how vulnerable teens are at this age, how they can succumb to eating disorders, even to suicidal tendencies, and how susceptible they are. So the effects known to Facebook of its site in condoning and even encouraging those tendencies is so deeply repugnant. Facebook knows from its own report, undisclosed previously, that it found in December 2020 a survey of over 50,000 Facebook users that, quote, teens, women of all ages, and people in Western countries experience higher levels of both body image concerns and problems with appearance comparison on Instagram. In an April 2021 report, which also has not been disclosed, it found a quarter of teen girls felt discouraged about their own life and worse, about themselves, often or very often after using Instagram. Another undisclosed report, March 2020, found, quote, social comparison is worse on Instagram, and, quote, in part because its recommendations, quote, enable never-ending rabbit holes, and because it, quote, perceived as real life. I don't understand, Ms. Davis, how you can deny that Instagram isn't exploiting young users for its own profits.
I'd like to speak specifically to this as an experienced mom of a teenage daughter, as someone who was a teenage girl herself, and as someone who's taught middle school and teenage girls. I've seen firsthand the troubling intersection between the pressure to be perfect, between body image and finding your identity at that age. And I think what's been lost in this report is that, in fact, with this research, we found that more teen girls actually find Instagram helpful, teen girls who are suffering from these issues find Instagram helpful than not. Now, that doesn't mean that the ones that aren't important to us. In fact, that's why we do this research.
Well,
It's
if I may
leading to
interrupt
product
you, Ms.
changes,
Davis,
the ability.
these are your own reports. These findings are from your own studies and your own experts. You can speak from your own experience, but will you disclose all of the reports, all of the findings? Will you commit to full disclosure?
Well, I know that Senator, thank you. I know that we have released a number of the reports, and we are looking to find ways to release more of this research. I want to be clear that this research is not a bombshell. It's not causal research. It's in fact just directional research that we use for product changes.
This research is a bombshell. It is powerful, gripping, riveting evidence that Facebook knows of the harmful effects of its site on children and that it has concealed those facts and findings. So I ask you to commit that you will make full disclosure, all of the thousands of pages of documents that the whistleblower has and more.
We are looking for ways to release more research. There are privacy considerations that we need to take into place. But I think more importantly, we're actually also looking for ways to give external researchers access to data so that they can do independent research.
You haven't provided that access to researchers. You've refused to make it available to independent experts and researchers. In your remarks, you say, quote, "We think it is important to help provide parents and guardians the information, resources, and tools they need," end quote. I want to talk about one major source of concern for parents. They are Finstas. Finstas are fake Instagram accounts. Finstas are kids' secret second accounts. Finstas often are intended to avoid parents' oversight. Facebook depends on teens for growth. Facebook knows that teens often are the most tech savvy in the household, that they need or they would like to have critical ways, Facebook would like to have critical ways to acquire new, older users. But Facebook also knows that nearly every teen in the United States has an Instagram account. It can only add more users as fast as there are new 13-year-olds. So what Facebook has done is Finstas. In multiple documents, Facebook describes these secret accounts as, quote, "a unique value proposition," end quote. It's a growth strategy, a way to boost its monthly active user metric. So Facebook claims it's giving tools to parents to help their kids navigate social media and stay safe online. But behind the scenes, your marketers see teens with multiple accounts as unique value propositions. You make money when kids deceive their parents. You make money from these secret accounts. You make money from heightening the metrics that impress the markets, your investors, raise the stock price.
That's not how I would actually characterize the way we build our products. We build our products to provide the best experience for young people. Interestingly, when you mention Finstas, in my engagement with teens, Finstas are not something that we built. They did it to actually provide them themselves with a more private experience, which is one of the things that led us to think about offering them more privacy.
These are private, yes, they are secret, they are secreted from parents so that whatever the tools you may have, parents can't apply them.
Let me go to Instagram CEO, Adam Mosseri, recently saying, and I used his interview in my opening statement, that 13-year-olds are not allowed on Instagram. Is that true?
13-year-olds and above are allowed on Instagram. Under 13-year-olds are not.
But we know that you are doing research on children as young as 8 and are marketing to 8 to 12-year-olds, correct?
If we find an account of someone who's under 13, we remove them. In fact, in the last 3 months, we removed 600,000 accounts of under 13-year-olds.
Okay, so talk to me about how you enforce the policy that under 13 cannot be on Instagram.
Actually, I appreciate that question. So there are a number of different things that we do. We have an age screen when someone tries to join Instagram. If we see someone trying to repeatedly change the date to get past that, we actually will restrict their ability to access the app. We also allow people to report underage accounts, even if you're not on Facebook, and we will remove them.
Ms. Davis, we now know that Facebook's own research found that Instagram worsens body image issues for 1 in 3 teenage girls. Were you aware of those internal findings before the Wall Street Journal articles came out?
Sure, Klobuchar, I'd just like to correctly characterize those findings.
Were you aware of the internal findings before the Wall Street Journal articles came out?
I and my team work on a weekly, maybe even
Could you just
sometimes
answer?
daily
I'm
basis
sorry, I
with our
was
research.
actually asking a polite question. Were you aware? Could you answer yes or no?
Yes, I was.
Facebook was creating a version of Instagram that targeted kids under 13. You announced this week that you are pausing that program. What specific criteria will you use to determine whether to unpause the plan, and who will make that decision?
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. I think what we intend to do at this point in time is to step back, to talk with more parents, to engage with more policymakers like yourself.
So appreciate, if you were answering the question, I would let you go ahead, but I was asking who will make the decision about whether to unpause the work on developing that program?
In April, Senator Blumenthal and I wrote to CEO Mark Zuckerberg ringing the alarm about Facebook's plan to launch a version of Instagram for kids 12 and under. I'm pleased that Facebook responded to our concerns and is backing down, at least temporarily, from its plans. But a pause is insufficient. Let's be clear. The problem isn't that Instagram hasn't developed a safe product for kids. The problem is Instagram itself. Facebook is just like big tobacco, pushing a product that they know is harmful to the health of young people, pushing it to them early, all so Facebook can make money. IG stands for Instagram, but it also stands for Instagreed. The last thing we should allow Facebook to do is push young kids to use Instagram. Ms. Davis, will you commit that Facebook will not launch any platforms targeting kids 12 and under that includes features such as like buttons and follower counts that allow children to quantify popularity? Yes or no?
Senator Markey, I'd like to actually take a second to disagree with your comparison. Our products actually add value and offer enrich teens' lives. They enable them to connect with their friends, with their family, and actually during COVID,
I appreciate that.
during the pandemic.
I appreciate that. Will you stop launching? Will you promise not to launch a site that includes features such as like buttons and follower counts that allow children to quantify popularity? That's a yes or a no.
Senator Markey, those are the kinds of features that we will be talking about with our experts, trying to understand, in fact, what is most age appropriate and what isn't age appropriate. And we will discuss those features with them, of course.
Well, let me just say this. We're talking about 12-year-olds. We're talking about 9-year-olds. If you need to do more research on this, you should fire all the people who you paid to do your research up until now, because this is pretty obvious, and it's pretty obvious to every mother and father in our country, because all recent scientific studies by child development experts found that not getting enough likes on social media significantly reduces adolescents' feelings of self-worth. Here's another threat to young people on Instagram. The app is full of images and videos of popular influencers who peddle products while they flaunt their lavish lifestyles to users. Ms. Davis, will you commit that Facebook will not launch any platforms targeting kids that host influencer marketing, commercial content that children may be incapable of identifying as advertisements? Yes or no?